Well, hello everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the show today. We are starting off here in Olifant's West Game Reserve at Rosie's Pan with a herd of ellies. Looks like there are a few little ones in between as well, which always is so... Ooh. Those two on the left, the one seemed to push the other one out the way. Now remember everyone that this is of course a live and interactive show, so please do chat to us. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from. If you want to share anything with me or ask me anything, you can do so via the Wild Earth website or the app. You can also join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. You can also chat to us in the YouTube chat stream, or you can now WhatsApp us as well. Just add Wild Earth as a contact using the number on screen now, and then you can use your mobile device through that application. Penelope, Joanne, hello everyone. Nice to know that you're all watching with us, and indeed, happy Saturday. Shireen, yes, elephants are gorgeous, aren't they? And it's actually a very mild day today after the heat of yesterday. It's a lot cooler today, lots of cloud cover. Odd bit of sunshine here or there, but nothing too hot. Looks like they have finished their drink and are heading off to the thickets to feed a little bit. I always struggle to believe that such a tiny elephant can turn into such a huge animal, and what their perspective must be like from down low when everyone else is so much bigger than them. Deb, hello. You say it's great to be here. It's good to have you on board. And you say that it's 6:30 in the morning where you are watching from, which is in Pennsylvania of the United States. Sandy Franklin, what a great bird to see. You say you saw a black-crowned night heron. You want to know if I can tell you anything about them? Well, they're nocturnal birds, which is quite cool. You also get is it the white-crowned, or is it white-necked? I'll just have to check. But it's quite cool that they are nocturnal, and they have a much larger eye than the other herons, just like fiery neck nightjars or even scrub hares have quite large eyes, adapted for the night time. I think they're very beautiful birds as well.
We have just had our efforts paid off.
Every guide in Africa has been on an endless quest for the ultimate bush wear. Until now. Rugged Wear has a huge range of amazing bush gear for every wild situation. In the midday heat, those chilly winter mornings, in the storms of summer. Rugged Wear has the bush kit for every wild occasion. Locally made in South Africa, crafted with precision, stitched with quality.
Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild. Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
Spas, hello. It is really great to begin with elephants today. You say that it's World Parrot Day today. I didn't actually know that. You're hoping that we see some parrots. I don't know if we will see any. We could. Most likely the brown-headed that we get in the area where Rosie's pan is. But we could hear them. They have quite a distinctive high-pitched call. I have seen the Cape parrot before. It's actually a very special bird, and you can see it close by to the Lowveld, even though it's called the Cape parrot, but it occurs in the Kloof Mountains, as well as down in the Eastern Cape, the Amatola Mountains and that area. But speaking of elephants, wow, isn't this little one just adorable, having a little snooze here? And often the little ones will do that. You can see Mom was standing right by it, and I think she's told this little one, it's time to wake up. And it's like, no, I don't want to wake up. I was sleeping so nicely. Isn't that adorable? Sandy, you'd like to know how tall the black-crowned night heron is. So I believe it is 56 centimeters high, which is basically a little bit over half the size of a grey heron. That's quite a common one that we see. So it's not as small as something like the green-backed heron. That is only 41 centimeters. So the black-crowned night heron is 56. And the food that it feeds on, it's normally always around water sources that I've seen it at. And that includes fish, amphibians, reptiles, small birds and insects as well. So they do vary their habitats, but it's usually close to rivers, floodplains, dams and pans that you'll see the night herons around. Okay, well, I don't think I've seen a buffalo at Tembe before, so why don't we head over there and check that out. Wow, this is definitely a first. Maybe everyone else has seen a buffalo here at Tembe before. It does seem to have a bit of a lump on its belly. I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway, seems to be wading into the water now. Ah, and there's an African jacana just to the right, moving towards the buffalo. Wow, that water's quite deep. If it sits down there, I don't know how it's going to keep its head up. Or is it just going for a swim? Or maybe just crossing? I'm not sure. Oh my goodness. Oh, hello. There's an elephant here as well. This is so interesting to see this buffalo. I mean, I think it's just cooling down. It must be. Maybe also eating some of those, I'm not actually sure what it is on top of the water. It's quite yellow. Well, at least in this angle. Maybe it wants to make like a whirlpool. I remember doing that as a kid in the pool. Go around in a circle with your friends as fast as possible and then try and see if you could make one. I am shocked that it didn't come out with more of that plant on it. Doesn't even look like it's really wet. Spas, in terms of the buffalo population for the whole of KwaZulu-Natal, I'm not sure. I think each reserve will have its own number. Tembe, I'll see if I can find out for you how many buffaloes they have on their reserve. But I think, relatively, it's an area that has a lot of good grazing, lots of water around. So the buffalo should do well on the reserves that there are buffalo. They should thrive in the habitat. Hi Derek, you're watching from PE in the Eastern Cape. Lovely to have you with us. You want to know if the Cape buffalo is related to the American buffalo. Yes, they are. They are both part of the Bovidae family, so both bovines, and they have that similarity, cloven-hoofed. And I suppose there's somewhat of a similarity in appearance as well, but they are completely separate species. The American buffalo, which is actually bison, that's the name, the official name as a species. whereas the Cape or African buffalo that we see here behind those elephants occurs, of course, in Africa and is different. My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Shungu, hello. You want to know the average lifespan for the African elephant? So that would be anywhere from 60 to 80 years they can live up until, but generally it's in this area as well as in southern Africa in general, you're looking at about 60 years or so, the lifespan on average for an African elephant. So quite a long life that they live. It's amazing to think how much one individual can see in that lifetime. Well, there are also some elephants at Serondela, so let's head over there. Well, definitely this one is ready for its close-up. Mayesh, you'd like to know at what age elephants develop their tusks. So we start to see the very first signs of tusks in the African elephant at about 2 years old. That's how it helps to age them. When you start to see those little white sort of dots on either side of the mouth coming out, then you know that it's almost exactly 2 years old. And then from there, the longer they are, the more you can say, okay, it's sort of between 2, by 3 years old, they're a good little amount out of the mouth. So yes, that's when we start to see the tusks. Wow, what a view! And this view is actually a great opportunity to have a look at the elephant's skin, and many of you would have noticed it's quite a tough leathery hide. It has to be. I mean, they don't get to wear clothes or any other protection in the very harsh elements in the bush, but it is very wrinkly, and all those wrinkles are an adaptation by the elephant to be able to hold on to a lot of moisture, especially with the harsh African sun. And it means that in those sort of crevices of the skin, that traps in the moisture for longer, so it doesn't evaporate as quickly, and the wind then blows over the body, and evaporative cooling takes place as well, which is very helpful when you are as big as an elephant who doesn't have very many sweat glands like we do. Sandy, you want to know if elephants are the only animal with tusks instead of horns. No, so elephants are not the only animals with tusks. For example, hippos also have tusks, warthogs as well, even walruses, they also produce tusks. So it's definitely not the only animal with those dentine structures. In terms of it being instead of horns, I'm not sure if, yes, horns are also a protrusion from the head, whereas tusks are a protrusion from the mouth, and it's actually a dental feature, whereas horns are bone that extend from the skull. So two quite different things, and different uses as well. And with them being tusks and from the mouth, they do actually aid the elephant with eating and being able to get hold of food, whereas horns are pretty much there for defense and offense only. Really is such a pretty spot with the reflections here as well. You can tell that it's quite a still day, not much wind. And look how this one is balancing his trunk or resting it on his longer tusk. Wow, you can really see all those wrinkles there now quite beautifully.
Experience the magic of the wild on an unforgettable 4-night safari at Mabula Nature Reserve. Hosted by the one and only Stephen Falconbridge. With Steve as your private guide, you'll gain incredible insights into Africa's wildlife, leaving with knowledge and memories to last a lifetime. Get hands-on with conservation, track elusive cheetahs, and even take to the skies on a hot air balloon ride. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature. Okay, well, let's head over to something interesting at Olifants. Well, it looks like we have some very lazy hippos here, including 2 little ones in the middle. And I believe there was a croc. I think it's just to the right of the screen there. We can see its hind legs, and I'm not sure where its tail is, if it's just bent or if there's something in the way that's sort of blocking our view a little bit. But it was sort of climbing up the bank. But it's always nice to see hippos out the water. It's interesting, on many of the reserves that I spend time on, guests would often want to see hippos out the water, which is fair enough. You can't really get a sense of what a hippo looks like just by seeing its head or its nostrils. But for whatever reason, the hippos that we had in the waterholes only came out late after sunset. And they never lay like this on the banks of rivers or dams or things like that. And it was interesting because in places like the Kruger National Park and here at the Olifants River, you have hippos that are often out and about and lying here soaking up the sun. The most important thing is that they have water available if they start to feel a bit sensitive to the heat, that they can splash off and get into the water if they need to. Tino, yes, wild animals can change their movements due to the season. Hippos being an example of that. They do spend time out of the water in summer as well, even in the day. But in winter, they tend to see them more lounging like this in the sun because it's not as hot, even in the very, very, very hottest times of the day. Also, they tend to leave the water earlier because it gets darker sooner. Cools down earlier, so you can see them feeding a lot more during the day even. So that's just one example of an animal that changes its movements with the season. Catherine, it really does depend. I'm not sure when these hippos plonked themselves here, if it was this morning already, but it can be the whole day. I've seen hippos really hardly move and lie in the sun for a ridiculously long time. Yeah, absolutely, wildlife lady. You don't realize how big they are until you see them out the water. So it is nice to be able to get the full picture. All right, well, some animals have arrived at Founders, so we're going to head over there. Lovely. Here is a sable coming for a drink. Maybe that means the rest of the herd is around. Short-lived, but we'll have a little look and see if there's anything else here. I believe there were some zebras earlier, so there's always action around, especially as it starts to dry out into the winter time. There we go, some warthogs and zebra. These waterholes become such a source of activity because all the animals don't have the seasonal pans to go to anymore, and they have to go to the more permanent water sources. We were just talking about other animals with tusks, and you can see, I think it's the mom on the right, warthog, how clear her tusks are coming out of her face. They do love to have a little rub on that rock as well. There we go. There are those tusks. And if you have a look at the tusk, do you see how it has two parts? So as she moves her bottom jaw, there was a second little tusk that moved with it. And that was what I was talking about yesterday, where there was a question about whether a warthog tusk could pierce a car tire. And I said, yes, I do think so, because that set that's on the lower jaw is extremely sharp. Ooh. Sometimes when an animal does that, I think something else is on its way to the water. We'll have to see. Hope maybe a rhino pops out here at Founders. It's always nice to see them coming to drink. Well, while we wait to see what else pops up here at Founders, we're going to go over and check in on Tammy at the Endangered Species Centre. Oh, well, isn't this just adorable? We've been following Tammy's story for quite a few weeks now already. And these little cubs are growing so quickly, and they're all just having a snooze here with Mom. And I don't think I've ever seen a cheetah sleep any other way. They always have their head up. I don't know if they have, I don't know how they can manage to keep their head up that way, but the way their sort of spine is structured and neck allows them to do that, and it doesn't seem to cause any aches or pains or any discomfort. Otherwise, I suppose they would put it down. But it's that they're predisposed to be very, very cautious and alert, and they're just too vulnerable to put that head down completely, even though she's perfectly safe in her enclosure. It's still just the way that they rest. Mercedes, hello. You say that the cubs were playing around just before the show started. Well, clearly that took all of their energy. They have none left. I do love how they just sort of lie on top of each other and have that connection, with physical touch. Oh, lady, that's good to know. You say Tammy does actually put her head down sometimes. Well, I suppose it is eventually, one wants to rest their head. And I think I've seen her maybe put her head down when she's inside with the little ones. But generally, definitely, cheetah that are out in the wild, you see them with their head always up like that. Oh, I do see a bit of stretching. Oh, it's like, let me out. There are 4 cubs in total here with Tammy. Yes, wildlife lady. It is a very cute cuddle puddle. I just love those little faces. Oh man. Some are clearly going for the milk bar that's open there. The third one trying to find a teat for itself.
I met this remarkable rhino bull, whose name is Samson, last year in a place of extraordinary beauty, history and story. I'm going back there to see him in October, and I think you should come with me to his mysterious mountain fastness.
Wild Earth has launched a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Visit our website to donate and explore how you can become a founding donor.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
Because we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Some of you out there are brilliant at identifying hyenas.
Now, why do you think people have got this huge misunderstanding about reptiles?
Right in front of me there was the face of an astounded buffalo bull.
This is live and interactive, so everybody, if you have any questions and comments, please do send them through and let us know what you'd like.
Okay, well, we did lose the feed there, but we are here at Jackie's Dam, and there's a kingfisher, brown-hooded kingfisher, that just flew into that tree there on the left, and has perched there beautifully. Yes, my those cubs do look so cuddly and relaxed, don't they? Almost want to join them. They look very, very happy. Oh, whoa! You don't often see brown-hooded kingfishers going for something in the water, I must say. So that's pretty cool. Okay, well, apparently a mongoose is at Rosie, so let's head over there. It might pop out again. It's probably a slender mongoose if it was on its own. And it's very cool to see because, you know, we talk about all animals using waterhole, even something as small as a mongoose that's coming for a sneaky little drink. And there are a few different mongoose species that we see. Two are communal dwelling mongooses, the dwarf and the banded. The bandeds being a little bit larger in size and generally larger groups of them as well. The dwarfs, of course, being called dwarf because they are so small. But then also living in a little bit smaller family groups, I've noticed, in comparison, size-wise. And then we have the slender mongoose, which is basically a solitary animal, can pair off when breeding. And then the white-tailed. Oh, there it is. I just saw it run. The white-tailed, which is a nocturnal species. We did see some birds around coming to drink here as well. We'll just have a quick look to see if anything else is around. You can definitely see that the elephants have been around here. with all this dung, and there's a blacksmith lapwing that I think is loving all the insects that the dung is attracting. Such a pretty little bird, and so often overlooked because they are so common. There was actually a question earlier, I think Picasso, you asked about crested barbets. You had 2 in your garden, I think it was, and you wanted to know if they're quite common. Yes, they are. Crested barbets are a bird that I see every day out on drive and around where I live as well. So very much a common bird in the Lowveld. Alright, well, while we wait to see what else happens here, let's head back over to Tembe. Well, the mud party is very much in full swing here with these elephant bulls. That one's deciding to have a little bit. I don't know if it's going to have a snooze, but definitely enjoying lying down there. We've seen a few of them do it to sort of rub up against some of the ground.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
Well, there was a question earlier about elephants when it comes to the white dot in their eye. And although these elephants are a little bit further away than the ones we had at Serondela earlier, it's still worth mentioning what that is, because it's quite common that we see it, actually. And it almost looks like a tick, possibly. I think you can just see it on the one on the right there. It becomes quite large at certain stages, and it's often right in the front of the eye. sort of nearest to the trunk. And basically, there's an iguana that's made its way for a drink there in the background too. But basically, that is a build-up of debris, different secretions from the nictating membrane that elephants have, which builds up in the corner of the eye, and it actually foams up a little bit, and that's why it turns white. It's fascinating. And I've just learned this now, actually, that there you can see it a little bit there, that the elephants, unlike a lot of other animals, lack tear ducts, so it doesn't drain away but rather sits there in the front of the eye. You can see it on that one quite nicely, the one that's facing us in front at the moment. There we go. There's that white dot. Perfect to show exactly what I'm talking about. So that is what it is. It's just a sort of a collection of moisture and debris from the eye that, because of the motion of the nictating membrane, turns to a little bit of a white foam and sits in the front corner of the eye. And I think sometimes when they do rub their eye like that, it actually gets rid of that little bit of hardened debris there. You can imagine it must crystallize a little bit as it dries out. Oh, now it's time for the sand. All right, let's head over to Nkoro. Oh, wonderful, a herd of elephants arriving to drink here. Oh, there's some little ones. How beautiful. Always special to have a sighting like this. That little one looks very excited. Diane, no, that white dot has nothing to do whether the elephant is in must or not. Females and male elephants get that white dot, and it can also happen in sexually immature elephants as well. Must, really the only way to be sure an elephant bull is in must is to look at the penile sheath and the back legs and see if they are wet and dripping with urine. And it's a very strong scent. Must is very different from the normal elephant smell.
Join me, Andrew Wistenholm, for an indescribable 6-night stay in the beautiful Albany of the Eastern Cape at Amakhala Game Reserve. Now this trip is going to be action-packed with a lot of storytelling, adventure, as well as the opportunity to make everlasting memories. We'll be exploring the best of Amakhala by staying at 2 luxury lodges, which will be the perfect blend of comfort as well as wilderness. Book your spot today and let's get ready to explore the wild beauty of Amakhala.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Rolf K, hello. You are saying good morning from Catskill Mountains of New York, and you want to know how old, generally speaking, are male elephants when they join a bull herd. So it's a great thing to ask. I think we've got 2 bulls here hanging around at the waterhole, and it's very typical to see bulls hanging about sort of at the back of the herd as they start to mature. And these boys would be somewhere in their teens, I would say over 10 years old, and that's sort of when it starts to happen. So at any age from between 10 and 19, depending on the behavior of the individual, the matriarch will decide when it's time to sort of push off that bull, depending on its sort of sexual maturity and how aggressive it is. And you can see that boy is sort of at the back of the herd, and there's probably a lot of communication that goes on to do with that we don't even know about. But he will eventually feel like, it's time for me to leave. And it can happen from any time after the age of 10, usually in his teen years. Okay, let's head back over to olifants. Well, the hippos are still enjoying their time in the sun. They've now been joined by some oxpeckers, which is not actually unusual. We do sometimes even see them land on the hippos while they're in the water, even if it is on top of their heads. But most of the time, I must say, that is usually a perch to drink some water rather than trying to find any ticks. Let's head over to Founders. Oh, cute. Another animal with an oxpecker. And that is the warthog. They've been in and out all day. Always seems to be something eventually that comes down here to Founders, not too long before an animal appears. There's the rest of the warthog family. Oh, Shiv, delicious. I actually need to share that about making them, and I just haven't had a chance today, but I'll try and get it done this evening. But absolutely divine. I must say that is a shout out to the butchery in Hoedspruit that we get them from. I unfortunately did not have the time to make my own patties, but that was very delicious. We had to use the tiniest hamburger buns I've ever seen in my life, but that's also part of the story. So you can hopefully check out my Instagram either this evening or tomorrow. I'll try and get it up. I think this waterhole is also so beautiful because of the lighting. It obviously, our camera is facing east, so the sun sets in the west, so we've got the sun, the afternoon light that falls perfectly on this waterhole, and everything is always in the afternoon just bathed in the most gorgeous lighting. This Egyptian goose is very busy. Let's head back over to Rosie's pan. Oh wow, this is awesome. A big herd of impalas coming for a drink. Can see one male there on the left making his rounds, and the rat is basically at its end now, but you will, for at least probably another week or so, we'll still hear the calling and have the males chasing the females around a little bit. So, Dean, yes and no is really the answer to your question. Impalas all in Southern Africa go into the rutting season at the same time, whereas impalas in East Africa, exact same species of antelope, but they don't have as strict of a rutting season, and I think that is due to availability of resources. They can actually give birth throughout the year, and the males are still competing for dominance, but it's not as intense as it is in South Africa, for example, where the males really even leading to fatalities when they fight with one another. But yes, essentially the importance of the rut is that they all go into it at the same time, so that the females all fall pregnant at the same time and therefore give birth all at the same time to ensure a higher survival rate for their lambs. Sort of safety in numbers. There are definitely going to be many lambs taken by predators out here, but at least if there's sort of a saturation of lambs, you're basically guaranteed a good percentage that make it through that time when they are so vulnerable. And that's interesting. You'll see this male is defecating and urinating on a midden. Now, middens aren't necessarily something that we associate so much with impalas. We think of middens, we think of rhinos most of the time. But they do actually create middens, especially more in this time where they have temporary territories. But males and females will use these middens and help communicate with other impalas. He can, sort of give a sense. Look, he's doing a phlegm and grimace there, lifting up his top lip, getting a sense of females, if they are in estrus, which most of them will be coming out of now, most of them actually being pregnant. So it's an interesting one, collection of impala dung there. Well, as these impalas head off, let's head back over to Tembe.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly here in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marlow Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Palumba and the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
We are here with a male leopard.
But I think that aggression can also be triggered by other things. I think it's a personality thing, depending on the individual, any sort of past experiences they may have, an individual's tolerance for a vehicle, or even humans on foot can be different from one to another. But also it can depend on their hormones, their testosterone, whether they're experiencing elements of must, and the sort of the swelling of their testes, and that sort of thing can make them uncomfortable. It can be quite painful, I believe. So all of those things can contribute to them being more irritable and turning into aggression. But it's not necessarily because they've been kicked out the herd that they become aggressive. You can see that one really mixing up all the mud and wanting to cool down. And I think they get to the perfect consistency where it lands on their skin and it clings nicely onto them. And I think that is what they go for when they do this mixing up of the water and the mud. I still can't believe we had a buffalo here earlier. Really something that I wasn't expecting to see at Tembe today. But it looked very happy, like it was doing well, even though it had a bit of a swollen area around its penile sheath. Didn't seem to be bothering it at all. Alright, let's head over to Elephant Pan. We had an elephant bull that came here. This is also such a beautiful spot, isn't it? With the reflections, all the mapani trees. Very peaceful, I think.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC. If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode, whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
Wow, well, it's definitely time for a drink, isn't it? Well, this is a very, very beautiful zebra here at Founders. Just enjoying, it looks like a gentle breeze before it maybe comes for a drink. Deb, it's a pleasure. It was a very relaxing waterhole today. Loved the buffalo as well as all the elephants that we got to see. And what a way to end off with a stunning, stunning zebra here at Founders. Well, to everyone who joined us today, who sent through comments and questions, thank you so much. It was a lovely show. I love chatting to you all. We will be out on drive in the next half an hour. So make sure that you stay tuned right here to Wild Earth. And we will be back tomorrow, of course, with the show. So make sure you join us again then. But from myself and the team, it's goodbye for now.